In 2012, 2 families left the city along with the conveniences of modern American living. It's today that these 2 families have relocated themselves in the mountains of the American Ozarks to build for themselves a more sustainable and fulfilling lifestyle.
We are An American Homestead!
This week on An American Homestead, the chicken coop comes under attack, and we need to put in place effective countermeasures. Also, a friend of ours comes to visit and puts us to work on the task of butchering some of her chickens for meat. Thanks for watching, and be sure to visit us online at anamericanhomestead.com.
Last year we got our own chickens and we started producing eggs and had an abundance of eggs all winter long. But now that spring arrives, our chickens are starting to go broody. And so now we're starting to raise our own chicks. Our first batch with 3 hens brooding, we got about 13 chicks. And now we have another 3 hens that are brooding, and we'll get another dozen, maybe a dozen and a half chicks out of those hens. These chicks will probably all be eaten unless we really get some really pretty ones that like some nice specimens, golden cuckoo morans. We'll probably put those on Craigslist and try to sell them because they command a pretty good price. When we built our coop, we went out of their way to try to make it as secure as possible at night, knowing that there are a lot of predators. In the inside of the coop, we made it really tight so even a snake can't crawl into the inside of the coop. The last couple nights, we've had trouble with raccoons trying to get into our chicken coop. They haven't been successful because I have a lot of rocks piled up, and then underneath the rocks I have sheet metal. But the raccoons have been coming and digging out the rocks and then trying to burrow underneath into the run, but they hit the sheet metal, and so they're unable to get into the run or the coop. But we want to do something about that because sooner or later the predators are going to start getting our chickens.
Okay, so what we're going to do is build an easy trap. This is something simple. Anyone can do this. Basically, I have a 4x4, I have a couple 2x4s. I'm going to nail these 2x4s on the bottom of this 4x4 so it sits like so. These are the bait holes. And so you're going to put cotton balls dipped with whatever bait that you have. Raccoons like a lot of sweet stuff. You can use crawfish oil. You can find crawfish oil at a number of places online. I have some of that as well. And you're going to stick these cotton balls laced with that bait down in these holes. And then you're going to take this 2x6 and you're just going to lay this on top so it kind of gives like a shield. And what you want is for that raccoon to come in here and have to get in and work with his hands underneath this and try to get that bait out. And here is where you're going to be setting your trap. The pan will be here, and so he's going to be standing all around in here trying to work to get this in there, and that's when the trap springs and you take your raccoon and hopefully solve your chicken coop problem. Pretty simple. All I got to do now is put it together. Okay, so that's it. It's done. That's all you need to do. It's very simple. Put your bait in here. The raccoon will have to, he can't come over the top to get to the bait. He has to come in this way. This is his only avenue of approach to get to the bait. And he'll work these holes. And right here, you set your trap and he will spring it. And hopefully, there you go. There's your end of your raccoon problem. Okay, so we've got our hole dug, and basically just took a little small pick and dug out the hole, set the trap. The trap is going to fit nicely right there, and I'm going to wire it down over here to the side with some bigger gauge wire. So this is pretty good size gauge wire. Anyway, this is going to be good enough for what we have right now. The coon will come in here. He's been digging alongside this fence line here of the coop, and he'll smell the bait and begin to work the bait here, and hopefully in no time flat have him get caught here. Now, around the perimeter of this, just outside this area here, I'm going to set another trap. Go ahead and set another leg hold, because a lot of times if they're coming in pairs, if they're coming in twos or threes, one will investigate the other who's caught, and there's a good chance he'll begin to circle, and you can get a second catch. So we're going to go ahead and try to get 2 catches out of this in one night. But if I can just get this guy, I'll put it out again in the next night and see if I can get another one, and hopefully save our chickens from an imminent demise via raccoon. So anyway, I'm going to be using feathers. And I'm going to coat these feathers with this, it's called Mast Magic. I've had this for a few years. I've never used it yet, but it's for raccoons. It's kind of like a molasses, sugar type syrup thing. And they really like, I've seen people catch raccoons when I was doing trapping before with just peppermint candies. The little wrapped peppermint candies you can get at the store or get during the holidays. They put those in their traps, and the raccoons love the peppermint. So anything that's sugar, they love that stuff, or they like anything that's crawfish, like shellfish oil or things like that. So that's it. I think this is going to work. Now, I'm not going to set this trap now because the chickens are running around the coop, and I don't want them to get caught in the trap that's meant for the raccoon. So I'm going to wait till tonight when they're put away for the evening, and then I'm going to go ahead and reset this trap, bait it, and then we're going to go ahead and see in the morning if we have anything. So that's what we've got at this point. Slow down. Slow down. He was going for the sugar. Now watch out, get back. He'll be mean if you get too close to him. So there's our guy. This is the second one that we've caught in 2 nights. And so this is a bigger size one than the first one, but he's caught. Sorry, Mr. Raccoon, but it's either you or the chickens, and it's not going to be the chickens. So it is what it is.
Where we live in the country, it's not uncommon to raise chickens. Most people out here actually have at least a small flock. Zach met someone in town recently who has her own chickens, and she raises them in hopes to provide a little bit of income by selling the meat. And she's raised chickens for a lot of years, but recently she has, because of her circumstances, started to not have the energy and the ability to slaughter them herself. And she got talking to Zach one day, and he offered our help. So in return, she said that she would provide us with a quarter of the chickens that we butcher for ourselves for our meat. So it's butchering day, so we're gonna go ahead and get started.
When I gathered up the chickens last night and this morning, I was totally unsure how many I was getting because it was muddy and I was slipping and sliding all over the place, grabbing birds, putting them in the cages. I was aiming for 21, but I didn't know until I got here that I brought 26. Well, I'm happy to see your place here today. This reminds me of where I used to live, but I brought you some chickens for you guys to kill and butcher since I can raise them, but I have a hard time killing them. I have a hard time killing chickens because I'm so aware that they're creatures. They're such sweet, trusting souls, and so I try to send them off as best I can, but it's hard for me to actually kill them. I really appreciate the help I'm getting here today because, as I say, it's doing things that I have a hard time with, but I'll eat some of the chickens that I get. I really don't eat much chicken. I eat eggs, but very little chicken. But mainly, I'm trying to sell to people that I know so that they don't have to go to a supermarket, and buy some poor factory concentration camp chicken that's been raised in the dark. You know what I mean. It hasn't had a happy life. I feel sort of a calling. It sounds silly, but to provide chickens that have lived in a happy, healthy way and been killed as humanely as possible, and provide those for my friends. I've spent most of my life living basically the way you guys live here. I had 4 children, and I was married at the time, and we lived like this with a few other people. I came back to Arkansas when I was 60, and at that time, which was only 10 years ago, I not only was able to run my property, just 8 acres, but I was able to run that and have a photography business, and I did both of them, and there was no problem, but I noticed every year I was able to do less and less. So I turned the photography business over to my daughter who lives down here, and I concentrated on my little mini farm. And I'm still doing that, but I have to realize every year that the amount I can do is different. And I have to not beat myself up about that. Just be proud. You know, like my garden is no longer a third or a half of an acre. It's about 40 feet by 20 feet is my garden, you know, and it's on raised beds because as you get older, I don't know how old you are, but as you get older, a strange thing happens. The ground gets further and further down. And it gets harder and harder to get down there to it. So I have raised beds for my garden, and I no longer raise goats because they run around too much. Chickens run around too, but I manage with my chickens okay. I do as much as I can, and I thank God for everything I can do.
Wow, it is hot today. Guys, if you've watched our episodes in the past, last season, you know what that means. Come on, let's go.
So here we are at our local swimming hole, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful day, and we're taking some family time to relax and cool off because it got hot. It got really hot this week, and so we're enjoying some time to cool down.
Hey everybody, thanks again for tuning in each week. We really appreciate all the comments and all the people who share our videos on Facebook and Twitter and other social media websites. You know what, we work really hard on these videos. So if you like the video, go ahead and go to YouTube and hit the like button underneath the video. It really makes making these videos worthwhile. All right, we'll see you next time on An American Homestead. Yeah, doing a pretty good job there? You almost done?
Almost, I think.
Looks like you did a pretty good job.